A pleasant Thursday evening to each and every one of you home here in Guyana. If you're joining me in the Caribbean, in North America, whether in New York, Canada, Europe, Asia, wherever you're joining me this evening, I want to bid you a heartfelt Ferguson. I would want to take another 2 minutes, to for you rather to call a friend, text a friend, or share the live. Let persons know that I am on or across the wave is on because this evening we have a whole lot of issues, of importance that we will be discussing. So once again, thank you for joining me. So I will exit and then return back so that we can continue with across the waves. So Oh, yes. Welcome back to Across the Waves. Yes, let's come together. Let's come together. But we're coming together so that you can be educated, you can be enlightened, you can be informed with facts and truth. This is what you will get on this program. Not fiction and lies or propaganda, but the truth, because I believe as national leaders and responsible leaders, the word of God says, you speak the truth, speak it ever, cost it what it will, or in the old folks will have that saying, but the truth will all times set you free. And I believe in truth. That is the pillar that I stand on, truth. That being said, I just want to welcome you to yet another program of Across the Wave. It is Thursday, October 7th in the year 2021. Yes, it's a new month, a new day, and also it's the second month in the last quarter of 2021. So I want to take this time to extend birth anniversary greetings to those of you you who, whether you would have whether you're celebrating one today or in the coming days, let me say happy birth anniversary to you. I wish you God's richest blessings for good health and strength so that you can live to see, many other years to come. For those of you who might have celebrated a wedding anniversary, I also want to take this opportunity in extending another, congratulatory sentiments to you and your better half. And I pray God's continuous blessings upon your union. Marriage is honorable and it's an important gift from Almighty God. Um, the other thing I want to share with you is that the People's National Congress reform, yeah, celebrated 64 years as a political movement in this nation on the 5th of October. Yes, 2 days ago, we celebrated 64 years as a political party. So the PNC, well, we all know that Forbes Burnham and the late Forbes Burnham and Chetty Jagan, they both would have formed the People's Progressive Party. And you know that Forbes Burnham was also the chairman of the People's Progressive Party when it was initially formed. And because of differences, we know that Forbes Burnham, um, you know, moved away from the People's Progressive Party Civic, and I think he had the PPP Burnhamite. Yes, it was called the PPP Burnhamite when he moved away. Then eventually, he reform. And that was formed on the 5th of October 1957. The 5th of October 1957, yes. So it is standing tall and proud as a political movement in this nation. So last Tuesday, we celebrated, as I said before, our 64th anniversary as a political movement in this nation. And we celebrated it under the theme, and this was the theme 64 learning from the past and conquering the future together. At 64, learning from the past and conquering the future together. So that was the theme as we celebrate 64 years as a political party. And it is not just for October 5th. It's right throughout the month of October. We will be, observing our many people are of the opinion or are of the belief or the view that the People's National Congress, uh, a party and government, did absolutely nothing for this nation. History would remind us what Forbes Burnham stood for, his ideologies, his belief. You know, um, we know that many of his vision, still lingers with us today. When we look at the Demerara Harbor Bridge, we can connect that to Forbes Burnham. Yes, the Demerara Harbor Bridge, if my memory serves me accurate, it was it was commissioned sometime in the month of November 1978. So 78 to 2021, the bridge is standing 43 years after the bridge. What else is still standing with us? The Linden Soesdijk Highway. Yes, Forbes Burnham. What else is with us? The Kanji Bridge there in region number 6. Under whose leadership? Linden Forbes Sampson Burnham. Housing house, feed, and clothe the nation. That was one of his belief too. And if we look at schemes, North Rumveld, South Rumveld, Tocqueville, Shirley Field Ridley, Roxanne Burnham, Melanie Damishana, you have Wisma, you have Tuckbardere in region number 6. It was all under the visionary leadership of Lyndon Forbes Sampson Burnham. We can connect the University President's College, Lyndon Forbes Sampson Burnham, it still stands. What else we can connect with him? The National Cultural Center. And I can go on and on. So when people come to tell us differently, or to make us believe that Forbes, Burnham, and the PNC did absolutely nothing in this nation, it is far from the truth. That is why it is important for us to know our history. It is important for us to know where we were and where we came from. Because those we have in government a day like today, they wouldn't want us to remember what Forbes Burnham did in this nation. It was Forbes Burnham that would have led us into independence on May the 26th, 1966. It is Forbes Burnham, sure, that we became a Republican status on the 23rd of February 1970. So there are so many things that this great leader did. So you're hearing about hydro now. Hydro is not now. We were hearing about Chumari and all kind of things. This was Forbes Sampson Burnham's vision to see Guyana move, into a hydro state, having benefited from hydro electricity. I mean, he didn't live to have it realized, to see it realized. What else can we connect with Forbes Burnham? What else can we connect with Forbes Burnham? Kimbia. We all heard about the Guyana National Service, who didn't perform well at school, was given an opportunity to improve, to develop a skill through national service. Even those who attended university in those days, they had to do stint at University of Guyana, at Guyana National Service. It is because of Lyndon Forbes Sampson Burnham. Multilateral schools, Lyndon Forbes Sampson Burnham. So don't let nobody try to erase what this great leader left behind. There are many things since he died 36 years after, many things we can connect with. So I am happy, like many other young people, with this great political movement, the People's National Congress reform. We are an institution. We have our constitution. We have our constitution. We have our we host our congresses every 2 years. Every quarter within the year, we host our general council meetings. We have groups in every district. We have regional executive committees in every region. So when you're talking about systems and structures in any political party, well, the People's National Congress reform stands out. So I just want to say happy, happy, happy anniversary to my leader, to my colleagues at in this. We are proud. We are proud to be associated with this great political movement. 64 years and standing strong. 64 years and we're not going nowhere. So at 64, we learn from our past and we will be conquering the future together. So long live the People's National Congress reform. Long live our leader. Long live the members and long live our supporters. May God continue to bless this great political party of ours. So, that being said, I also want, because I'm still on the greetings, so bear with me, please. So I also want to extend that anniversary, my sympathies to those persons who might have passed during the course of today, whether by died, we had 223 cases for today. So, for those of you who would have lost loved ones during the course of today, during the course of the week, um, us here at, or we here, sorry, at Across the Waves would like to extend our deepest sympathy. And we pray that you will find comfort and solace in the Lord Jesus. And may your loved ones rest in peace and rise in eternal glory. Amen. So, down to serious business. This evening, I should have a guest in with me, one of my comrades and colleague, Madam Honorable Nima Flew Bess. I don't know whether she's in as yet, but yes, I think she's backstage. So, operator, you in the studio so that we can commence our discussion. My sister, a
Hello.
pleasant evening to you.
A pleasant evening to you and your viewers, Comrade
Thank,
Ferguson. It's nice to
thank you
be
very much.
on Across the Wave this evening with you.
Yes, yes, dear.
I heard your sentiments earlier when you spoke of the PNC party,
Oh,
and I
yes.
wanted
Mhm.
I wanted to add my bit because sometimes we tend to forget our history and the
Yes.
contribution our founder leader LFS Burnham would have had it to the development of our country. And even as
Hmm.
you spoke, I wrote down a few things. There's a book that I have in my possession that speaks to grow more food,
Oh,
teaching our
yes.
people how to do agriculture, be it cattle rearing, fishes, and all of that, preparing your farm for cash crops and so forth. We have that very important piece of literature that is there. I recall as a child under the LFS administration when he was with the president of this republic, we never forget anything about the controversy between Guyana and Venezuela. Every morning you got up, you
Yes.
heard the song, we ain't giving up no mountains, we ain't giving up no trees, we ain't giving up no
Hmm.
rivers that belongs to we.
That belongs
And
to me. Exactly.
and these are things that you would have heard as a child. And I remember the national service, the young men and
Hmm.
women in the
Hmm.
community who would have gone out to work. And when we look at such programs, they remind us so much the importance of being patriotic to your country.
Yes.
And it helped to raise that awareness of patriotism among the Guyanese people, which I think is lacking a lot in our country, in helping our people to understand the importance of being a patriotic Guyanese. So that's a legacy
Hmm.
that I will always remember and would always share and talk about. And of course, you know about all the different developments. You would have mentioned the highway, the National Cultural Center, those schemes
Yes.
that you spoke of. Very
Yes.
important to remind our people how important these things are. And festival cities related to the festival that we had. Um, when they had
in
the launching
19
of the big
was
festival.
19
Yes.
was 1972, I think. I'm trying to
Yeah,
remember
something wrong. It's in the
around that time.
1970s, and
Around the 70s.
you know, these are things that are important to remind us of our history, because you have landmarks and areas there that remind you so much of what took place in our history. And it's important that we continue such a great work in remaining and ensuring that our history is not thrown in a corner, but it is recorded. And as our generation move on and on, they can always reflect and remember what is being done. So I'm happy to be a
Exactly.
member of the PNCR
Yes,
and
yes, we all are.
leader. All right.
Yes. Well, thank you very much, Comrade Flu Best, for your expressions not so long ago. But for those for those viewing our program this evening, may I briefly say to you that Comrade Flu Best is currently a serving member of Parliament. In the 12th Parliament, she is serving as a member of Parliament for the APNU AFC. Her responsibility is also, I think she has responsibility for the East Bank corridor. I think from Eccles way up to Moblissa on the Linden Suzik Highway. And I know for a fact that Comrade Flu Best, she's on the ground. She's a people's person, interacting actually every day with her constituents, having their issues or their problems addressed to the best of her ability. So, Comrade Flu Best, though tonight is not centered much on what you're doing in your constituency, but last week we met on what's it again? What's the name of the program for the opposition? So you were my guest, and you spoke extensively on what you have been doing and what you continue to do in your constituencies. But this evening, on this program this evening, we will be discussing many of the issues that are before us as a nation. And one of the first one I want to start with, Comrade Best, has to do with COVID. That is something we must never ever, treat as secondary. It is something that not only Guyana is grappling with, but it's a global pandemic. And the last figure, I think, as at last evening, it was 816 deaths. And if for today, I think we have an additional 5 deaths. So I guess we're now standing at 821. So perhaps you can correct me if you got COVID is a concern to us in the opposition. So, what would you say to this particular issue and how the government is treating, this whole pandemic?
Well, like you said, COVID is real. COVID is a serious issue that we continue to face, not only as a nation, but worldwide. It's only last evening I was talking to a parent for that has a child at Kurukuru Primary, and
Mhm,
the school is closed because a teacher was tested positive for
mhm,
COVID-19. Now, again, when you listen to what is being said, the information reaching to parents is slow. That's one, because
mhm,
we know that the World Health Organization would have given guidelines. If persons are exposed, you look at contact tracing and all of that. The information
yes.
is good, low, and then you have a situation where people are determining which set of trends should be staying at home and which set should not be at home when you have persons being tested for positive in a particular school environment. And that speaks very poorly to the manner in which the administration is dealing with COVID. I'm looking at the figure online, and yes, there's 816 deaths confirmed, and like you said, they added 5 today. So probably by
Mhm,
tomorrow you'll see the updates on the COVID-19 situation in Guyana. But
Yes.
Comrade Ferguson, even as I ponder, because for the longest while, ever so often, there's someone dying with COVID, might be somebody that you know very close, or someone
Mm-hmm.
that you might be associated with in a small way. But you see the
Mm-hmm.
pain and the anxiety that is taking place in families. But more so,
Yes.
when a person goes to the COVID hospital, I mean, when you go to the hospital, or you hospitalized in any way, you're thinking that, you know what, I will get well because I'm dealing
Mm-hmm.
with people who ought to know, should be able to handle the situation, treat me right, so
Yes.
that I will
Yes.
be able to leave and get home back healthy. But we see what's
Mm-hmm.
happening. People are leaving, going to the COVID hospital, having hopes and expectation of returning home, and then they're not able to return home. They die there. And the relatives
Mm-hmm.
have to live with that. Many families are grappling with doubts like, did they make the right choice of allowing the relative to be in the hospital? You have no access to them. You don't know exactly what they're eating, how well are they being cared for. It's not like a regular visit that you would do at the hospital. And
Yes.
situation like that is causing a lot of anxiety and stress in the lives of families and people around, because if you're going to the hospital with the hope of getting better and then you return, then you're not returning home alive but dead, then it calls
Mm-hmm.
one to question what really is happening at the COVID hospital. I would really like to know what really is
Mm-hmm.
happening at the COVID hospital and the care of patients, because I cannot understand you're having all these vaccination drive and all these things that you're doing, and yet still, you're supposed to be providing a service to help people to feel better. But yet, when the people go to the
Mm-hmm.
institution, they're not feeling better. They're not even coming home back. And
Mm-hmm.
so there's a fear in this
Yes.
nation right now with people being tested positive with COVID. The last place anybody would want to go is the hospital because you're not sure the kind of care you're giving. And then
Yes.
you look at the
Yes.
update that is being provided by the Ministry of Health. Is it accurate? Can you actually trust the information that is being provided whenever they feel like? These are
Mm-hmm.
questions that needs to be answered. And so I would like to encourage our people, continue to do your usual, practice your basics, sanitizing, avoid going out unnecessarily, eat right in building your
Yes.
immune system, and
Mm-hmm.
practicing your social distancing and try to maintain, that clean and cleanly environment. You
Mm-hmm.
know that if you know that you were exposed, or you think you have an idea that there was some exposure, isolate yourself. Isolate yourself and use your regular
Yeah.
fever grass and all of that. These are things that we have to
Yeah.
do, because if you're
You
dealing with an administration not helping, it's
exactly.
difficult.
But yeah, Nima, like we have been saying on this program, unlike many of the other programs that we have, I know for a fact that you too host a program called The People's Representative every Saturday
Saturday.
between 11 to 12. And you will hear us harping, the importance of protecting yourselves because from COVID, because this government cares absolutely nothing. All that they are interested in is ensuring that the mandatory vaccinations they want to impose on the people are done, because apparently they got a certain amount of percentage that they must achieve with in the opposition. We are on record saying to our people, it is your choice. The vaccines are there. It is your choice, to go get vaccinated. I have had my vaccination. My family too, they have taken their vaccines. But then again, it is the way it is being done, because Nemo, you recall about 3 weeks ago, we did a walkabout in the downtown area, and you heard for yourself many of the vendors, many of the buyers, the expressions they shared with us with regards to this vaccine. One gentleman said to me, huh? I am taking that because the information is not forthcoming. So because of the lack of education, because of the persons aren't provided with pamphlets or handout that they can inform themselves, read and inform themselves these vaccines are likely to have on them. Because of that, persons are saying outrightly they are not going to take the vaccines. But as responsible leaders, it is our duty to ensure that we provide them with the necessary information that we have to our disposal, so that we can share with them and encourage them to go and get vaccinated. Nima, the opposition don't even have a seat on the national task
No
force.
task force.
So,
That is so
so,
true.
so, uh, yeah, so as you rightfully put, we don't know whether the data, that is, the figures that they're releasing on a daily basis, whether it is accurate. What is the big secrecy? Why the secrecy? Number one, you ask them questions. Dr. Karen Carr, leader of the opposition, did likewise, and many other of our colleagues did likewise in the National Assembly. And the stupid responses we get from these, so-calling government, you really want to know whether these people are really serious about saving the lives of its citizenry. So the onus is on us to ensure that we encourage our people to social distance, wash their hands, sanitize on a regular basis, and also wear your mask. And as you rightfully put, do not venture out unnecessarily.
Unnecessary.
You understand? So I know for a fact that you being a teacher, you all two are having your struggles, on a daily basis, whether the ministry would have made detergents or, these PPEs, whether it is the mask or the we call it the hand
Sanitizers.
sanitizers available to you guys. So I don't know if you watch the school system with regards to COVID.
Well, I want to add a little to what you said. The fact that this administration has decided that they don't want any of the opposition reps on the COVID task force, that tells
Hmm.
you that they have information to hide. That tells
Hmm.
you that they don't intend for the general public to be aware of what is happening. That tells you that they don't care. Because if it is a case that you really care, health should not be political. Our health is
Exactly.
serious.
Exactly.
Nobody, even as I was coming down and driving the vehicle, I was thinking, you imagine if diseases used to decide who should get sick and who should not get sick, what would be happening? A
Hmm.
disease doesn't look at face, color, or anything like that. It doesn't discriminate. It affects all of us. And because of that, it is important that when you're manning and you're governing in a country, that the opposition have representation on these things so that it can even give clarity and bring some level of trust from the population to what is being done. But the fact that you don't have representation on such an important task force, you have an issue because you cannot verify
Exactly.
the type of information that you're giving to the public that it is accurate. For the vaccine,
Hmm.
I continue to say to people, unless you feel fully educated about what is being given to you and you feel satisfied, until such time, it is your decision whether you want to have the vaccines or not. What the
Hmm.
government should be doing with all the funding that they would have been receiving for COVID. This is the amazing thing. They've been receiving monies for COVID, but we ain't see no free PCR testing sites opening up
Ex-
all over to say, okay, if somebody
hmm.
feel that they're getting symptoms that related to COVID, like, oh, I could stop short at this location and get a free PCR test done. We're not seeing that. All you're seeing is the promotion of all these new labs and all these new businesses that are open for persons to go and pay and get PCR tests done.
Hmm.
But if you really care about the population, a PCR test should be free. and it should be easily accessible to the people in the country because we know what we're dealing with. But we are not seeing that. And again, to the persons who are vaccinated, don't feel that you're safe. And that's one of the things I
Mm-hmm.
want persons to understand. Not because you might have received a vaccine, and I see that kind of careless, carefree behavior coming out a lot now. Persons get vaccinated and don't feel that they should be wearing a mask. They feel they can go anywhere. But mind you, vaccinated persons carry the virus too and can infect others. So you
Yes.
still have a responsibility, even if you're vaccinated, to practice the basics of wearing a mask and sanitizing and all of that because
Mm.
you can still infect
Fact.
persons. And
Yeah.
I don't think that message is clearly sent to our
Mm.
population, especially those who are vaccinated and feel that they can throw themselves all over without care. But it is important for them to understand whether you're vaccinated or not, you can still carry the virus. And you have a responsibility, even as a vaccinated person, to take all the other necessary precautions so that you will not be responsible for infecting others. And that is something that we need to work and remind our people of about ever so often.
Absolutely correct. And just before I move off from COVID quickly, I have been following what is happening in Trinidad and Tobago, what is happening in Grenada, what is happening even in Jamaica. Where the heads of state, they have been, including their, people from whether um, the religious bodies, um, the business or the private sector, for want of a better word, and other stakeholders. They try to get them on board and provide a lot of information to their population. The Trinidad, they got these constituencies and so forth in the
Mm,
various province, if they refer to it in that kind of term. So you get a clear understanding of in Shaganas, you got if the population is about 5,000, they give you the breakdown. How many females, the percentage, the number of females, and also the percentage for both male and females. And in Shagwanas, they would say that, well, look, this particular area is the high risk area that we need to zero in more. So the Trinidadians would have a better understanding of what is happening in their country. Here in Guyana, though we have 10 administrative regions, we know for a fact that many of these regions are vast. The region number 9, Upper Tapico 2, Upper Essex,
mhm,
that's are sparse. So you're not getting that kind of information coming to the fore. So you don't know what is happening in Lethem or in region number 9, whether Achiweb is a high risk area and you gotta pay more attention to the population there in Achiweb. You know, um, this is lacking, and I don't know why is it that this government is hiding information. Why are you hiding information? Is it that you have? I just can't understand. And the other thing, Nima, is this: is when we were in government, we had established, these temperature sites.
yeah,
So if you leave region 9, region 4, sorry, head into region 10, you had to stop at the check-in point to get your
very
temperature
true.
checked before you go into region 10, and vice versa. From the time, so we had it in region 10, 5, 6. That is how we had it. You understand me? So now, when they got in August of 2020, they disbanded every single thing. So it's a free for all. And I want to end our focus on COVID by reminding our listeners and viewers that 2 weeks ago, the People's National Congress Reform, yes, this 64-year-old party, called on the government to ensure that testing sites are set up across this country to provide free testing to our citizens. But 2 weeks after, nothing has changed. That is why we, the leader of the opposition, and us in the opposition, we have moved a no confidence motion against Dr. Frank Anthony because we are of the belief that he and poor job in the handling of COVID 19. Too many Guyanese lives have lost to this dreadful virus. Just last week, we buried our colleague and friend, Imran Khan. We lost him to COVID. You understand me? And many other Guyanese. 821 is far too much. Far too much, Nima. And we
Indeed, it
must
is.
call it, yeah, and we must call it for what it is. They don't have a plan. They don't know what they're doing. And that is why we as leaders got to ensure that our constituents, our people protect themselves. It
Yeah,
begins with you, you
yeah,
know. So let's move on. My dear sister,
yes,
crime is on the increase.
you
Crime
know,
is on the increase. Media. Bandits stormed some super bet in South Rumvelt, robbed the people. I read again some individual left their vehicle parked outside of some establishment. Went back, the vehicle gone with all the important documents,
definitely.
including money. You know what is happening, Nima, and yet the government, the installed minister of public security, he has remained silent. We're yet to see the records with regards to the whole crime situation in this country. What do you say to that, my sister?
Well, yes, indeed, we see that crime is on the increase in Guyana. Sad to say, when you have a population where you're punishing people, making life difficult for people, you have a full police force that is not as professional as it was under the coalition. Things are happening. You find that the crime rate will go up. And that's what we see happening in this
Ye-
country. What deters crime?
Yes.
What deters crime? What is being done by the law enforcement? Not killing people, but what is being done to enforce the law? That is important. How is the law being enforced? Is it being done fairly? All these things contribute to that. And people commit crimes for different reasons. You don't have jobs, you don't have access to resources, you might have a family to take care of, and all of that. These are some of the reasons that will contribute to crime in the rise of crime in the country. And we see that cost of living is very high. So, for
Mhm.
example, let's look at the regular man who's a tout on the park. He might have been a tout for a number of years. He collect his 3, 5,000, how much money, and usually every afternoon when he finishes touting job, he goes to the market and pick up
Mhm.
whatever is needed for his family. Now we recognize during this pandemic, they really got the touts won't get as much money because one, you will have less people traveling. Two, if the driver you would have given them a $200 on a trip, it might have now gone to $100. So you would find that the income there has been diminished. And then you would find out when
Yeah.
you go to the market, what happened in the market? I get less
But
income,
the prices,
and but the
yeah, but
price
the
has
price is
gone
high.
way up. That will also
Mhm.
contribute to crime. And then, of course, we have those idle young people around the place. We're not going to make excuses for them, but generally, when we talk about the increases of crime in a country, there are a number of factors that must be taken into consideration that would have been contributing to the high rise of crime. Look at the young man who lost his life senselessly the other morning.
Well,
That is another issue.
yeah. Well,
Look
I
at
was
the
coming to that. I was coming to that. Are you speaking about or in Boston?
Orion and the other guy that was shot in
I,
um in South
in North
or in,
Rockville.
look at our
Yes,
in Boston situation. Are you telling me a regular Guyanese, the average resident around that I could actually trust the police? Is it safe for me to think that the police will actually commit a crime at me? These are things that people need to, they're logical questions that people will ask because you are thinking that the police ought to be there to protect you, but you're not
exactly.
protected. You don't
But
feel protected. Look at where this
no,
Mr.
wait,
Boston was killed.
in his bed, in his bed.
It's
And
a,
you know what is a sad thing? Yeah, you know what is a sad thing, Nima? Mr. Boston died on the 15th of September 2021. It's close to three weeks. It's already
weeks
3 weeks, heading to a month since Mr. Boston met his demise. You understand me? In his
and
bed,
nothing.
and nothing from the Guyana police force. But you know what? Just before, if we're to make a contrast here, a comparison here, a member of the SWAT team that might, yeah, that would have committed, the act on
This
Mr. Boston. But Saturday, just before the famous fire at Brick Dam, we all read on social media that a serving member, a deputy superintendent of police, was intercepted by a roadblock. This is the deputy superintendent of police, Mr. Dexter Brown is his name. The car that he was driving, when intercepted by his by his ranks, you understand me? They discovered ammunition and quantities of marijuana. Look the car, look the trunk there with the black bags, the marijuana. But the sad thing, the difference between him of Mr. Boston is that you know who this police officer is
is.
that had
Hmm.
marijuana in his car. I think he passed through the court yesterday, so he's currently on remand. But 3 weeks after, 3 weeks after, you cannot know. This nation is yet to know who is the person and what is the name of the person who would have killed Orrin Boston.
In his
Who
bed.
would have killed Orrin Boston in his bed? But
In
um,
his bed.
uh, 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 but an officer whose car was intercepted on Saturday by the Sunday, big in the newspapers, you had his image. Dexter Brown's image was carried in I think it was the Kaichor newspapers on Sunday. But
Mhm.
close the image of this SWAT team member who would have committed that act on the taking of young Orrin Boston's life. Is this fair? Is
No,
this fair? And that is why, Guyanese, if you're on this platform and you're listening, for too long we have allowed the system, for too long we have allowed people to take advantage on us. And that is, if Orrin Boston was my relative, I tell you, it would have been a different ball game because Annette Ferguson, wasn't letting up. Annette Ferguson, would have fight for justice because he met his death in his bed. And this is a disrespect to the family. This is a disrespect to the Guyanese citizen. Because if the Boston's family can be treated like this, why can't the Ferguson's family be treated? We are yet to know where is this matter, Nima? Where is this
I would love
matter?
to know.
The last thing we heard is that this matter or the case is now before the police um, authority, the police authority, they incomplete examining what was submitted before them, so that this officer, this ranker, whomever he or she is, can have their day in court. The
Mhm.
Boston's family need justice. They need justice. So I trust that the family and all right thinking Guyanese would start to speak out. No longer should we allow our society to endure this when the police is there to serve and to protect. So a life was taken by those who supposed to be serving and protecting us. And up to now, we cannot,
Nothing.
we cannot hear from the Guyana police force. Happy, happy, I gotta call you out this evening. Blanham, you gotta get called out this evening. And all the others, y'all gotta get called out this evening. The family of Irving Boston, that 29-year-old businessman from Dartmouth Village, they are waiting for
For
justice to be
justice.
served. And not only for Irving Boston, because many others would have died after him. They too are waiting for justice. The Guyana police force, they have let us down. So I now want to turn our attention, my sister, to this famous fire. This fire.
Yes, the famous fire.
This Nima, I have to smile. Nima, I have to smile. The
I
famous fire. You understand me? They
yes,
think
it
that
is.
Guyanese are silly. So I will show our viewers some images. Can you bring up the one I think more inside, please? The one with the actual fire. And I want our viewers to, you know, analyze what is before their eyes. The building with the fire, it looks like the inner building, like when you go into Brickdam Police Station, their operator. I'm waiting for the operator to put up that particular image. Uh, there's another one with excuse me. There's another one with the actual. You're seeing the. All right. There's good. Nemo, Nemo. I don't know
Yes.
if you know. I don't know if you ever visited Brickdam. You know, I'm a
Yes.
regular visitor to Brickdam Police Station.
I know because you're
A
very
regular,
famous.
yes, a regular visitor to Brickdam Police Station. So this building here, excuse me, if my memory serves me accurate, and it will. You see where that car is,
Yes,
Nima
the white car.
and
Yeah.
viewers, yeah, that grayish looking car, that car is making its way out from the compound. It's heading to the main gate in Brickdam there, right? And on the other side of that car is, that's the entry, where cars would normally come in. So we got the police vehicle park here. That's actually the
The back.
tarmac, where people would go and do. So this actually in the compound. This particular building that we're seeing here, right? I think when you go left, there's a stairs there that will take you up to the command's office.
Mhm.
But it clearly shows that it seems as though, because if you look beyond the fire there, the flames, you're seeing smoke. So it clearly shows that the fire might have started somewhere in this area
At the
here,
back.
right? At the back, right? Somewhere in this area here. Operator, bring up the other two images, please. Right? So this is actually in the compound. Good. So the very building that I just showed you there, this is you see where the fireman actually would have projected the hose to extinguish the fire there. You see at the top there, Nemo.
Mm-hmm.
At the top got up the
Yeah.
scorch of the building. That's the building that we were looking at just now. Right? That's the building we were looking at just now. Where you got this pink circle, this is where the lockup is,
At the
right?
front.
This is the holding cell at the front of the building. So it's between actually Smythe Street and Brickdale, right? So this is
Yeah.
the prison cell. But if you're to glean closely, you will see that there's a space between the actual holding cell and the administrative building of the Guyana Police Force. You know, the commander's office was upstairs there. So anybody, Guyanese are not, we're not mentally retarded. We're not illiterates. You know, we have critical minds. We have critical minds that we can analyze and assimilate things. Fire happened on Saturday. We heard about eventually I think Sunday morning we heard that they got a suspect, and this suspect confessed that he lit some what do
Sponge.
you call it again?
Sponge.
Some
Sponge with
sponge
wire.
with wire. Well, Nima, we know that a sponge, when you light a sponge don't really hold flames for long
No.
because the sponge don't start. You understand me? The sponge don't hold flames for long, right? But even before I continue down the vein, in the cell of itself, probably you got vents so that little air could pass
You
through.
could go in.
Good. So you're gonna got a grill, but beyond that grill, you're gonna got like these mesh. You know, they got like the chicken mesh.
Yeah.
You know the chicken mesh.
Yeah.
Good. Right? But you know, Nima, that these mesh, and I think the picture in the where you got ropes and Ben, I think Hoppy. If we're to zoom in thoroughly there, the holes are very, very small. So Nima, tell me, which foam, which foam I can light was the length of this wire, because this wire got to be a, a long, long wire to really stretch between the distance of the two buildings there, the cell and the actual police building. So that one I can't understand. That I can't understand, Nima. I don't know how you view it. I don't know if you got a different, you know, analysis from me that you would want to share. Let me hear your take on it.
I must I want to start on this fire by saying what the Brickdam police station fire has done is expose this administration and the Guyana police force for being untruthful. They give the Guyanese people information that they think it's necessary for them to have. And I
Mm-hmm.
must commend our people. When I saw all those analogies on social media where persons will zoom in those pictures, circle, identify areas to show that the story that they're telling us, when I heard the story of according to them, the person confessed, I thought I was listening to Nancy Drew or something, a real Nancy story back in the days when your grandparents would sit down and tell you about these stories, all these tales. That is what I felt I was listening to. But I must commend our people for not being foolish and just sitting down and take what is being thrown at them to be gospel, but they would
Mm-hmm.
have used their skills and their knowledge to analyze And to show what took place, I must commend the news agency, I think it was Capital News, that went to look for the address given for the suspect. And when they talk about they using Google Map to locate the area, that is commendable, because back in the days, under the previous PPPC administration, they would have thrown a story to you and persons would have just sit down and take it as gospel. And what the PPP administration need to recognize now, they're living in different times. People are
Yeah,
educated.
yeah,
They're
yeah,
living in
yeah,
different times. So this
yeah.
fire and all these things that they're giving you, people will analyze it and people can interpret it. I see they found another somebody that sat down and wrote a long, stupid letter and want to implicate the opposition and all that inside of this fire. But the
Mhm.
question I have to ask, who will benefit? Who benefits more from the fire? We see what the PPP does. They find contractor, they find everything. To me, like everything was just set based on what I saw. And I'm quite sure the average Guyanese would say so. When you
Mhm.
look at how everything played out, you don't want the fire hydrant. You got water inside to assist you. You got everything. To me, when you look at what happened there, it's set. And one of the things that I would want to know, who is the contractor that was given that contract to start clean up and all of that? That would be key information that the public should know about. We need to pay attention to
Yeah.
all these things.
Nima, when I heard about the address, if my memory serves me accurate, 2292 Princess Street Lodge, I was like, 2292? No way, no way in that particular area you will find lot numbers more than three. It would be probably a single digit, double digit, or triple digit. I'm familiar, with certain areas in South Georgetown. I said no way, and I went to the Google map too. I went to the Google map too, and for the life of me, it couldn't pick up 2292. So I know something was wrong there. But Nima, sad enough, the young man passed through the court this afternoon, late this afternoon. Mr. Green passed through the court. I think Chief Magistrate's Court. So he was charged and he has been remanded. But you know what, Nima? Man might think they get away with this, but there's a God. There's a
Yes.
God who sees. There's a God who hears. And there's a God who knows. And he will act, and he is a just God.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, so there might be, Paul Green might be used as the scapegoat. But time will tell, Nemo. Time will tell. And just before coming on this program, you know what I learned? I think one of the fire officers said that they found lighter. No, I said lighter? How can you? Because I remember lighter is a thing of melt. And in that heat on Saturday, then you had all the debris. And we know that machineries moved into that site on Sunday morning to excavate all the debris and take it away. So how come they find this lighter? How come lighters were found in all that heat? But Nima, I am no judge. I am no jury. I'm so sorry. He's now before the court. The matter is being sub judice. But you know what? We as Christians, we will continue to pray for our nation. We will continue to pray for Mr. Green because I believe in my heart, like all other right thinking Guyanese, that that young man is innocent. That young man, I believe. is innocent. But let us wait and see what is going to happen, right? But we know that this particular regime, fires that follow them. Ministry of Housing on home stretch 2001, fire went up. Ministry of Health, I was researching, trying to get the periods and so forth. You had Ministry of Education, I think it's 68 breakdown just by GT. You had just the other day the schools, North Rumbelt Multilateral. You had Mabaruma Secondary School. Just the other day you had the Vigilance Police Station. And all we knew about the most recent fires were by arson. Were by arson. You understand me? So, Nima, we just got to keep praying for our beautiful nation. And I know it's coming down to our program time, but before I bring the program to an end, I want to share with you because I know um, in your district, you should have the old age pension books being rolled out. I think, across Region 4, they have
Yes,
started the distribution. I have, passed, I think, a few other areas. Trying to remember yesterday, I passed somewhere. And I see these elderly people. I believe that this whole process could have been done differently. You got them elderly people coming out to their house from since morning in the morning to wait in long queues just to collect the pension book for the month of for the year 2022. And what I know used to happen in the past is that you didn't only have 1 month in which to have these books distributed, right? It was being done over,
a period of
about
time.
a period of time. So they have put, dead dates, locked dates to these activities. And the staff at the Ministry of Human Services and Social Security, they're not treated fairly. Talk or speaks to them anyhow in an unprofessional way. The minister threatened that it got to be done, it must be done, even though the technicians are saying it cannot be done this way. So the staff, they're under pressure. What used to happen, Nima, is that in a project of this magnitude, they used to bring volunteers on board to help, speed up the process.
Process,
They've
yeah.
cut, they've cut that out. So it's the staff alone. I heard also that they're going to take staff from Region 4 and send them to Region 5 and 6 to do the distribution. You're putting strain on the staff. So you don't want to bring on the volunteers to, pay them a little stipend to help fast track the process and all kind of thing. So the staff are the ones who got to really bear the brunt of it. I don't know if you have received any comments yesterday at the masjid in Alexander Village, whether it's the imam or whomever is responsible for that masjid. I got reports how we spoke to elderly people, talk them down yesterday. That is wrong. That is wrong, Nima. So I don't know if you receive any complaints that you would like to share.
Well, I have not received any complaints yet, other than my seniors. They have to travel far because they're
Mm-hmm.
lumped to different areas. I know previously, especially in the Mocha Arcade community, which is away from the East Bank corridor, but within the
Mm-hmm.
Ministry of Social Protection would have sent in a bus, and they used to go to church in the
Mhm.
community and have the elderly collect their books. But this time around, those elderly people have to make the way all the way out to Providence Primary to collect the books. And what you find, my concern about this distribution is that when we started the program, we started to talk about COVID. And what we're seeing is that environments are being created to even put people for the risk. Think about the staff.
Exactly.
I have to leave
Exactly.
my region. I'm going to leave. They have to leave their region to go in another region to do distribution of books.
Mhm.
I have
Mhm.
passed to the sites to check to see if staff members are wearing PPEs to do the distribution because it's contact. Um,
Yes.
if they're wearing gloves and all of that, other than noticing the face mask and so, I've not noticed anything unusual, any additional precautions being taken.
Mhm.
So these are
Mhm.
these are the things that are concerning me. I've been monitoring the distribution on the East Bank. I would normally drive and go and check to see what's happening at the different
Mhm.
sites. And I would
Mhm.
engage with the seniors. They're very concerned about having their books, and I'm waiting to see what will happen to the shut-ins. So I will make a call on this program this evening to let the viewers know that if you're in an area where you have your seniors, check in on them to see if they got their books and if they have any challenge. And if they do, reach out and let us have the information. Doesn't matter where you are, send the information and we will do the follow up on it because we have a responsibility to represent our people.
Exactly. But Nima, here what happening. I think the closing date for the distribution here in Georgetown, I think is tomorrow.
The 8th, tomorrow's the 8th,
Yes,
right?
tomorrow is the 8th, right? So small window period for Georgetown, and you know that Region 4 has,
It's the largest.
the largest population is in Region 4. Yesterday, I passed at Campbellville Secondary School, and this was close to 4:30. And in that compound, you had about an average of 60 elderly people.
Wow.
And my jumped to see these elderly people gotta be going through this at this late hour in the afternoon. This morning I passed at East Rum East no yesterday morning. I passed at um East Rumveld East Rumveld post office. And
Mhm.
if you see the crowd out there, you understand me? This thing could have been done in
In a
in a more
better way.
structured way. You either deal with it probably by block, right? If you're doing, let us say, 4th and 2nd Street there in Campbellville, and you deal with it probably in block and also in alphabetical order. I do believe that kind of system would have been much more efficient and
Yeah.
effective based on what I saw. The other report I received, because what they're doing is that along getting the 5,000 voucher, and I think the 25,000 voucher got to be encashed, I think is
Before,
on or before the 31st of this month, if my memory serves me accurate. So
yeah,
another small window period. You understand me? So what also came to my attention is that there's a shut-in in Campbellville. A shut-in in Campbellville. The woman, all the time she receiving her old age pension book. So when the relative apparently went to uplift the book and also the voucher, the 25,000 voucher, the relative was told she named it on the list for the
mhm,
25,000 voucher, but they got the old age pension book. So something is wrong. So in a haste, in a rush to roll out these programs, a lot of people will be missed, just like how a lot of people were missed and still many of them are yet to receive the flood relief. Whether it's the 50,000, the 100,000, the 500,000, the 5 million, and all kind of thing. A lot of people are have missed receiving monies. You understand? So, you know, The government really, really, really got to take a step back. As politicians, we are there as policy makers. It is our responsibility as ministers to ensure that our policies, the government policies or the government programs are properly, implemented. Leave it to the technicians. If the technicians are saying, well, look, this is not the best approach, this is the way, listen to them. They have been in the system for donkey years, so they know exactly what they're saying. But this rush to roll things out, it's going to cause this government dearly. And we know corruption. That's why we got to leave this for another program. Know that corruption is eating at every level in this country. In this
So
country.
true.
So, Nima, I will give you 2 minutes to wrap up. I don't know if you want to say anything to our viewers, and just before I bring the program to an end.
All right, I want to thank you, Comrade Ferguson, for having me on your show across the wave. It was a pleasure being here and interacting with you, even as we continue to talk about matters that are really critical to our people. To the viewers, I want to say to you, do not lose heart with all the struggles that we are going through. Let us unite and let us continue to stand up and speak out against the ills that continue to affect us as a Guyanese people. If we lie down and not do anything, things will happen to us. But if we stand up, speak out, fight together, work together to overcome the depression and all that is happening in society, I'm quite confident that with the help of the Almighty, we will all overcome. So stay strong and be blessed. Let us unite and continue to stand up as a people. Thank you so much, Ms. Ferguson.
Well, Nima, I want to say thank you very much for agreeing to be on the program this evening. I think our discussion was very healthy. I mean, we could have gone in depth on many of the issues we have highlighted, but because we're constrained by time, it did not allow for that. So I want to say thank you very much for being with me, sharing with our listeners and viewers here on Across the Waves. And rest assured that I will have you back so that we can continue much topical or much discussions on topical issues. So thank you very much, my dear sister. So to you,
You're welcome.
my viewers and my listeners, I want to say thank you very much for joining me here program of Across the Waves. Just before I take my final leave, I want to say to each and every one of you living here in Guyana, the time has come for us to stand together. The time has come for us to say enough is enough. The time has come for us to say to this regime, your policies, your actions, they're all bad. It is hurting not not all Guyanese, but the African or Afro Guyanese are hurting. The the disparity, the unfairness, the injustice, it must come to one end. Talk about one Guyana. Don't only talk it because we know that talk is cheap. Don't only preach it, but you need to act and you need to practice what you preach. So I want to say to all of you, if you haven't taken, for those of you who are still in doubt, you're still wavering whether to get vax or not, I want to encourage you to get vax. It will save your life. We are on record saying to you, Ensure the vaccines that they will give to you are the ones approved by PAHO WHO. And we know that we have the AstraZeneca that is available. And I think they've started to roll out the Pfizer to the adult population. So I I WHO approved vaccine. Sinopharm, that too. But we had our big question mark, and it still remains a question mark over the procurement of the Sputnik V vaccine that this government, this installed regime, this uncaring cabal is yet to provide the facts, the truth surrounding the Sputnik V. The onus is on you, yes, you out there, to ensure that you are protected. And once you are protected, the lives of your loved ones will also be protected. So I end by saying sanitize, wear your mask, and watch your distance. COVID is real. Our population is a very small population, and the prospects, the outlook of Guyana is poor. We all would want to be alive. We all would want to have breath to enjoy what our God given paradise has to offer. May God bless you. May God bless your family. May God bless our dear land, Guyana. Thank you for joining me. Do join me tomorrow from 12:30 to 1:30 p.m. on Channel 6, CNS Channel 6, for another program, Facing the Nation, with the leader of the opposition. It will be streamed on CNS Channel 6 Facebook Live. So I encourage you to tune in and to follow the discussion, because tomorrow's discussion will be specifically on Gaisuku, the 250,000 that each sugar worker is to get, and you know other things. So do join me there. And has a program, our program on Channel 9, Nation Watch, from 12 to 1 p.m. Do join us there. So I look forward to you joining me next Thursday for another edition of Across the Wave. I am Annette Ferguson, and do have a blessed remaining of the night and enjoy the remaining of the week and your weekend. God bless you all. Thank you.